This podcast is made possible by supporters like you. Mahalo. And by Atlas Insurance Agency, Hawaii's largest professional agency, helping Hawaii navigate insurance solutions since 1929. More at atlasinsurance.com.
Aloha, my kako. Welcome to a new episode of What School You Went. Start every conversation with that question. I'm Ron Mizutani, and today we're going to try to make you hungry. Not hangry, but hungry. I never even knew that was a word, you know. Hangry. But it makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Because if you're hungry and you don't get fed, you're going to get angry.
Yeah.
And some people get to a point where they're just...
Right here.
Yeah. Right now, I'm actually getting a little hangry.
Borderline.
Yeah. We're talking beef stew, wonton men, and everything in between. I'm humbled and welcome a good brother of ours, a good friend, Chef Mark Noguchi. I just call you Gooch, brother, and welcome back to PBS Hawaii. Thanks for coming
having me back.
You know, I've asked you this question before, but I got to ask because it's all part of the process that we do here. What school you went?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked, Ron. Went to Puno, Roosevelt, Kalani, Kaimuki, with a stint at Assets, and then ended up in Hilo.
Wait, you went to all of them as a student, not just stopped by on the bus.
All of them as a student, yeah.
Okay.
All of them as a student.
Boy, you was, I wouldn't say kolohe, but you had a purpose.
It just, not fitting in, having. School was rough. And it just wasn't, I work at Punoho now, and the curriculum that we get to do and share, I always think to myself, oh man, I would have done so much better in school if I had classes like this.
Right.
But we all learn differently.
Exactly.
But then going through all those schools and going through that entire life process, all those little things shaped me and gave me tools, helped me to cultivate resiliency to have this life today, right? So
yes.
While back then it might have been, like I always say, I'm like a racquetball down a hallway. I'm still shooting for the end of the hallway.
Right.
So we're going to get there.
Eventually.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It's like an elbow macaroni, right?
It's like an elbow.
All kinds of turns.
All kinds of turns. But sometimes you just want it a little bit simpler. So you just want the ditalini pasta.
Or a little spaghetti.
A little spaghetti.
Spaghetti mac.
Yeah.
But no, hey, you know what? I do believe all of our stops have a reason. They serve a purpose. It is what is planned more than you know, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a believer in whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's your kuleana. That's
Yep.
your business. But I do believe we all have a purpose.
I agree.
And there's a plan that's greater than any of us, and it's already there. So your plan was set before you got here. And part of that was to visit Roosevelt, Puno, Assets, Kaimuki, and you say Kaimuki or Kaimuki?
Kaimuki.
You say Kaimuki.
I do know that it's Kaimuki. I feel like in our language today we have so many more options because we're just more woke.
Yes.
But I still fall back to Kaimuki.
Kaimuki. Kaimu.
But
Imu.
funny, I say Kina'u.
Right.
I'm trying to remember who taught me that was Princess Kina'u, but I say Kina'u.
I do too.
And
I say Ma'ili. I used to
you
say
Ma'ili.
Ma'ili.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know what? I say Molokai.
Uh-huh.
Some people say Molokai.
Right. Lanai.
Yeah. I say Pipeline. Some people say pipeline. I say like, and others say like. Hey, whatever.
Whatever works. Yeah. I do. I say Kamukito.
You say Kaimuki. Okay. You say Eisenberg or Eisenberg?
Eisenberg.
For real?
I had a girlfriend who was a linguistics. Wow, good one. I had a girlfriend that was a linguistics expert, and she would also always bug me about that.
Yeah.
Because it's Eisenberg.
Yes, there's a history there.
Eisenberg. Because it's right, the EI versus the I, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Leslie Wilcox
who
did a story on that.
Can you tell me? Do we have a little bit of time? Can you share with me?
I don't know the exact. I just remember
who was
that
he?
He was one brother.
Oh, okay.
One German brother. That's all I know.
I'll take that.
But yeah, Eisenberg.
Yeah, Eisenberg.
As opposed to Eisenberg.
Oh, you ever been driving up? In Puna and past Pizik Road on the left?
What?
There's a road, P-S YZK. Pizzik.
Pizzik.
Something like that.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, it's right at the bottom. It's right past Mountain View.
And people
heading
have
up.
all kinds of...
I've never driven down that road, but to me, for some reason, that road always jumps out. It's just the most unique name on that entire stretch.
I would like to know the history. I'm gonna go Google it right after this.
There we go.
One more thing, I'll go since we're on the name on the pronunciation of names. Back at Kamehameha, we were pretty Kolohe, our group. In fact, I probably should have visited other schools as well, like you. But one of my if I were to give you this, picture up here, right? I'll give you some letters: O, B, R, E, C, H, T. How would you say it?
Obrecht?
Obrecht, right? I was a wise, you know what? He was our English teacher. I used to drive him nuts because every day I would say, Mr. Obrecht,
just to get
Mr. Obrecht, just to get under his skin. And boy, when I graduated and I was already in TV, I once ran into him at Ala Moana. And I said, "Ooh, Mr. Obrecht, Mr. Obrecht." He turned around. He's like, "I knew it was you."
Knew it was you.
You little son of a gun.
Remembered you all this time.
Me. Yeah, Mr. Obrecht.
There you go.
Anyway. All right, Gooch, let's talk about soups. Because we could spend...
Yes, please.
You know, when chefs talk about dishes that they make, whether you're Bobby Flay, Gooch, whatever, soup-based soups, stews, if you're in tune with how chefs work, they spend a lot of energy on that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And developing broths and tastes. What is your outlook on when you approach a soup dish?
What is my approach?
Let's start with beef stew then.
Okay, start with beef stew.
Yeah.
My approach to beef stew is I try to make it like how my mother made it.
Okay.
She used a lot of red wine, almost close to like a beef bourguignon.
Yes.
And so what's interesting, like at the pier, you know, the uncles would always tell me, "Bro, your stew's too fancy, bro, too fancy." And I just couldn't take the wine out because that was my mom's thing. But just that one little ingredient made it different than like super, like OG local style stew. To me, I think a lot of our soups and braises are linked to our ancestors, right? Is a lot of soups and braises. We're taking these cuts of meat, you know, even like sabao. You don't have gorgeous fillets of fish and paka in it, right? It's you take the bones and you make this beautiful soup out of it. So soups and stews and braises is this amazing dish of ononess that was cultivated through almost lack of resources, if you will. Took the cheapest cuts of meat, took all the scraps, all the leftovers. Almost similar to like, you know, Simon soup, right? It's just all the scrags, all the leftovers, but yet you treat it in a way that it turns into something amazing. Right? It's like my mom would use the chalk, and when we, you know, smoky time, chalk, flank, and all those things, like we couldn't give it away. Almost,
they threw it away oftentimes.
Yeah. So you take these tough cuts of meat and you apply gentle heat. You learn how to layer flavors. And granted, you know, as a professional cook, you learn that stuff. But watching your mother, there's a reason why mom browns the meat. There's a reason why mom then added red wine after she, you know, seared off all her veggies. And, you know, now we know it's called deglazing, but back then it was just mom throwing wine. And she throws everything else in. Right?
We're now reducing it now.
Right, yeah. You know, she never said all that kind of stuff. Yesterday, for lunch, Kamuela made chige. Okay. Kamuela's two of my favorite dishes that I love to eat next to like my mother's food is Kamuela's food. He makes his pork tofu, right? So pork tofu is a braise. He also makes kimchi chig. It's amazing. The really awesome thing is he's not a professional cook, but he understands flavors well enough that he builds layers. So his kimchi chig, all he added was water, and it had body and flavor and depth that would normally be indicative that there was something like stock or something going on.
Right.
But it was just the way that he took like leftover bacon pieces, started to throw that in the pot, added some shredded cabbage, covered it up, let that all sweat out. One might think he's just cooking to get everything in, but watching him, you realize that whether you realize it or not, he's sweating the cabbage. The cabbage is releasing its sugars, its natural sugars. He adds wine to deglaze. He throws in the old kimchi first, reserving the kimchi juice. So he's letting that component
It's like
develop,
science.
right? And then builds. And the body at the end comes from when Kamala throws kalo and then the tteokbokki, the rice cakes. So you have that starch that then gelatinizes, and then it gives the soup body. And really, it is a pot of genius.
It's
And
like you said, it's like a mad scientist.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Mom, your grandmother, your mother, makadang your ancestors too knew how to take these super pedestrian, if you will, components, but celebrate the best out of it, right? When you have absolutely nothing and someone gives you a head of cabbage, but then you got a family of 16, I'm not going to make kalua pig. I'm not going to make kalua cabbage. I'm going to make a soup.
Cabbage soup.
That's hearty, right? And then whatever, you got a winter melon squash or whatever, you throw that in. I got an old chicken carcass, throw that in. And then, right, the grandma would pick off every piece of meat off of that chicken carcass. Uh-huh. That's why I made chuk, right? Zosui, and all these magical things that come out of frugality.
Every cartilage, every bone is used.
So anyway, so going back to mom, brown the meat. She would do it. I still love doing it. My wife keeps telling me don't put so much, but she opens up, the Lipton's French onion soup package.
Yes.
She loads me some meat in that, and that's what she browns it in.
To tenderize it. Or to brown
to season it. Yeah. I mean, there's, if you look at the package between the aji and all that stuff, there's sugar in it and things like that. So all of that, I think, aids in the caramelization. But that's my mom, and I love their beef stew. And going back to our conversations, it might not be everyone's favorite beef stew, but it was my favorite beef stew.
All. That's well said.
Yeah.
That's well said. When you said wine, I thought about Uncle Emery. He used to make his beef stew like that with red wine. Not everybody loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So that just took me back. Some people use, my stepfather makes it with Kalbi ribs, short ribs.
Yeah.
Some people use it just, my wife makes an incredible beef stew, but just stew meat. Mm-hmm. Take the time to cook that right. That's as tender as, anything that you have. But yeah, beef stew is a go-to. I'm going to switch gears on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it up a notch. Wonton min.
Yep.
Another island favorite. First of all, you'd say wonton min or you say wonton min?
I don't do the O. I think my wonton is with a U, wonton. And in wonton it's one word, wonton.
Wonton. Wait, so you do the U?
I do the U.
Why do people do the O?
I'm not too sure. I wonder if it's dialect. I wonder if it's how people, I also see wonton more on the continent.
I see.
Go figure.
Right.
Wonton is something, we could talk about that forever.
Yeah, because boy, whether you go Zippy's, Shiro's, or I'm sure you have your own recipe on wonton, it's a staple too. But building those flavors is it doesn't just happen, right? It takes finesse.
Yeah, I think for the wonton itself is dumplings are another. Dumplings to me are another tangible example of the genius of our ancestors. Every culture has a type of a dumpling, right? Whether Italy you have ravioli or you have plain, whatever it is, you have agnolotti. In Chinese we have wonton, Japanese we have gyoza, and then even our European countries have dumplings too. So they were to take, let's say. They were to take like a chicken carcass or a pork, the leftover meat ribs after you've served your servants or your masters, and then the servants will take whatever's left, pick it all off, mix it with some veggies, wrap it in a dough, and then there you go. But I learned over time that how the filling eats in your mouth is directly related to the relationship that I'll have in the bowl of noodles. For instance, gyoza filling. If you kind of imagine you had gyoza filling, right? Chopped cabbage, garlic, maybe some ginger. Then it's like, to me, it's almost like a 2-to-1 ratio of veggies to pork, veggies to meat. So when you eat it, like pan fried or deep fried gyoza, it's crunchy, and then you have a lighter bite of this umami-ness to it. Wonton, in a relatively simple bowl of the noodles and just a few garnishes, wonton filling for the most part tends to be a little bit firmer. Because if you were to have light textures with light soup and a gentle noodle,
Clash.
or not so much clash, but maybe it becomes too homogeneous.
Yes.
So you have a firmer ball of filling to sort of complement the noodles.
Are you looking for the contrast? I know you didn't say.
For myself, in my head, I love. I know we talked about like mac salad and about how the curly mac is a little too complicated, but I think there's something to be said about how textures play off of each other.
I see.
When I watch all the old aunties and how they make it, and even like at Palace Simon, watch Obachang, that bowl of filling that she has is super simple. It's like pork, salt, maybe oyster sauce, white pepper. For me at home, it's almost the same thing. Choke negi, I just choke them with the green onions. And to me, I found that I like that texture with my Simon. And we've turned making wonton into a family endeavor. Like my daughters now, whenever they have their friends over, they always want Simon. So what we do now is that I'll prep out all the wonton stuff, and with their friends, when they come over, we'll sit down and the girls will make. I can hands off now. They'll sit down and they'll bang out like 150 wonton.
Yes.
Then we'll make dinner. Then our friends can take. Our friends will have their friends will have wonton to take back to their family. When we go to Missouri on our annual trip for Amanda's family, the Sun Noodle guys, they'll ship up like a case of like 500 skins, and then we go up there, and then right where my mother-in-law lives, there's a beautiful pig farm, so we use like local pork there, and we'll make like 1,000 wonton and just sit around, talk story, drink freaking mimosas all day long, and just do it. Sit around this big table and just bang out hundreds of wonton. So to me now, that's a thing,
Yes.
Yeah.
What a great story. I can visualize that happening, because it can be a family event, and then of course you're going to partake with everyone as well. I can tell you, I've had some wonton min. If the wonton is not good, it can really really interrupt and really ruin your dish. If the wonton is good, it can just obviously elevate it. But what makes a bad wonton? I can't even pinpoint it, but to me it's
okay, got you right here.
Yeah.
Whoever's making is in a rush and they grab 2 skins instead of 1, so that when they cook it in the water, you got raw skin. Even worse, you got raw pork.
Dry pork?
I think dry pork, under-seasoned pork. I've had skins that I can tell there was a little bit old and a little mildewy, and they just kind of fold it inside out, but then you bite into it and you get some old stuff. When you have the simplest of dishes, it's real hard to hide behind.
Yes.
Right? It's sort of like to me, it's also like spicy ahi. I love spicy things. I love ahi, but to me, is like poke. To me, is celebrating the fish. The wonton to me the wonton celebrates. The wonton is a celebration itself. It's to me is a tribute to our aunties and our uncles and our grandmas and grandpas. But the fact is that any of those other very simple components are off, or if they're done without care, it transfers to your food. To me, in the poke and ahi, it's like, yeah, the spicy stuff is good, but anybody can put a bajillion sauces and completely mask the beauty of the fish.
Right.
And
or the freshness.
Right, the freshness.
Or lack thereof.
Or the texture, or the fact that it's aku, because we don't get to eat aku that much. And if I have poke aku, do not put a ton of stuff on it.
Yep.
Right? For wonton, I think now, and mind you, I've messed around with dozens of variations of my feelings.
Uh-huh.
I also think that I don't know, Ron. I'm kind of an old fart in the sense that I do see the decadence and the enjoyment of having like pho and lobster and stuff mixed into your wonton or your pot sticker. But to me, wonton and pot stickers and dumplings were a necessity out of frugality. Therefore, when I cook, I would like to still pay as much tribute to that as possible.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Total sense.
Just keep it simple.
Right.
Kiss.
Not everybody can have a lobster bisque.
Yeah.
And all the flavors.
Although good lobster bisque on occasion. If I'm in Maine, I ain't gonna argue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have good lobster
What
bisque. Maybe I'm out of line. Here.
Give it to me.
Whole Foods.
Really?
Oh, brother, it was good. Really, really good. You know, but I'm a simple guy.
I thought you were gonna say something like Michelle's or something like that.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
If you ever see it on the line, give it a shot. I don't know what it tastes like today.
I gotta tell you,
yeah.
Whole Foods orange chicken isn't bad either.
Okay. Hey, I want to ask one more dish. Actually, two dishes, but because I make, if I may say so myself.
Yeah.
But I learned through Mom, my Auntie Lena, on Kauai, and the Portuguese side, the Souzas. I learned how to make a pretty good Portuguese bean soup.
Ooh.
It takes maybe 5-6 hours
Yep.
to make, maybe even more sometimes. But I don't know how to make small pot. I make enough bean soup to feed, almost like Uncle Frank. Frank de Lima used to drop off his bean soup. His is the bomb.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. That was his way of saying thank you to the media. He still does it. He still does it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's dynamite. But I don't know how to make small bean soup, so my wife always tells me, it's only the two of us. But I don't know how. Because my recipe in my mind is to feed a lot of folks. You like bean soup?
I love bean soup.
That's kind of creepy, brother.
Portuguese bean. We're on PBS, right?
Yeah. That was a nice whisper, but yes, you love bean soup.
I agree with you. I cannot make soups and stews in small amounts. I just pulled out pork to make adobo, and our friend's like, "How much adobo are you making?" I'm like, "I cannot. I don't know how to make 5 pounds of adobo. I know how to make 20."
Who else is coming?
That is, yeah. But soups and stews, you can make it, freeze it, you can barato it, you can, you know what I mean? I don't know how to make it.
Yeah, barato.
I'm right there with you.
Oh, you said barato. I went back to Vegas when I was hitting all my sevens.
Oh, yeah.
And you get the barato,
You
don't get the barato.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse.
When you make your Portuguese bean soup,
Yeah.
macaroni or no macaroni?
Oh, automatic. I put
Do you
spaghetti.
do you cook it on the side?
I put spaghetti.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Do you put it on the side?
Absolutely.
And then just put it in?
At the very, very end. Yeah. I use watercress.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. At the very end. All of those little things. Let me tell you. You get the in the bone. I'm getting hungry. One more question.
Yes.
Juk.
Yeah.
You say chuk or juk?
What did I say? I say juk,
Okay.
but in our household, we didn't have juk very much. We had zosui.
What is that?
Oh, okay. Oh, why don't you finish your juk?
No. I love juk.
Okay.
I love juk.
So-
I know when Zippies is having their juk.
Special, you get them.
Yeah, go get it.
Before I was born, the word on the street was that my father was a gangster noodle cook. He used to work at, the Pan Am building, Alamana.
Yes.
The bottom of the floor used to be this place called Restaurant Matoy. This is in like the 60s and 70s, maybe into the early 80s. No, because it was married already. Because 60s and 70s. And my father was a noodle cook, and apparently he was unreal. And that transferred into our family, where on Sundays at home we would have shabu shabu. So you can imagine, hot pot, you cook all your stuff, and at the end of the meal, Dad would skim the pot, and he would either make udon, kishimen, which is like a flat udon, or zosui. Zosui is essentially Japanese juk. You follow?
Okay.
Okay. And I, to this day, can still remember how it's sitting up in the cabinet, the bowls that Dad still used. We still have them. And the only thing those bowls were used for was for pao, for that noodle or rice, for shabu shabu, or when Mom would make French onion soup. Those are the only things that ever went in those bowls. So he'd line up the bowls, and he would have just the big round container of Morton salt and a tin of black pepper. And he'd go like, pepper, bop, 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 bop. Take the negi, bop, 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 bop. Take the old, and then he would do the soup, cook the noodle, and put it in. For the zosui, it was you take your old rice and you put it inside, and then he would do like, like the Chinese style with the egg where you just dribble the egg inside, and then he would cover it and let it sit. You let it sit for a few minutes, you take it off, and right when it looks like the top looks like the crater of Hawaiʻi now, where it's kind of bubbling slowly, and then that's how you know that the bottom of the pot is starting to get a little bit koge, a little papa'a. You turn it off, and he would dish it out. Our daughters are growing up with zosui, and it was magical. And my father, when I was maybe about 17 or so, and even Hilo, so remember Hilo, and then I would start to come back every so often. And the sunny days, he would always make me do the noodles or the rice. And he would sit there with his chopsticks, and he would be like, okay, not yet. And then he would emphasize like instruction by dipping the chopsticks in the hot soup and then like flicking it at me. And it was just the most nerve-wracking endeavor ever. And it was for about a good 20 years, it was just miserable. And I have a picture. So fast forward to about 2017. My mother's already sick. Amanda and I are over there one night. And my father was like, so, how's your udon skills coming along? I'm like, Dad. And then, of course my wife, Dad, he's doing good. He makes it at home now, blah, blah. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
And so he goes, okay, next week, we're going to have noodles. He goes, you're going to make your noodles, I'll go make my noodles, and we'll go taste them. So I have a picture, I'll show it to you later, of the day, and then I'm really glad Amanda took it, where the two of us are sitting on the counter, we both have a burner going, and I made it. And it's just that, it's seamless for my father, right? And it's just muscle memory, and it's all these things. And he makes his, and I make mine, and we taste it, and we switch. And he takes a bite, and he looks at me, and he goes, oh, not bad.
Not bad.
And I'm getting emotional just telling you, I burst into tears. For 20 years, just all I wanted to do was just make Dad proud of it.
Oh, brother, you're making me
cry. So it's funny you bring joke, rice, those super simple things, it's in my DNA.
And again, it's about frugalness and the things that we had, or our parents or grandparents had, that was, that would have gone in the trash can for a lot of people. Totally. Yeah. What's juk is good for?
Hangover. I can say that, right?
I was going to be a little more eloquent with it, but that is the best.
Come on, get to the point.
Right. Cut to the chase. Don't bury the lead. All those things that we learned in journalism. It is like magic potion, A little too many inu the night before. Just have a nice warm bowl of juk.
You really want to go, this. You heard the 6 P's, right? The whole proper preparation prevents.
Yeah.
Okay. If you really want to take it to the next level, you can go out that night. You make the juk
before.
You make the juk Friday afternoon.
That's called vision, brother.
There you go. Just stick it in your refrigerator to microwave when you get home.
Right. Top shape. Bam.
That's it. 1 speed.
Yep. Throw some, what do you call that? Parsley on top?
Watercress.
My bad. Yep. Ooh, I'm getting hungry. Brother, thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure.
Mahalo for the invite.
Man, I love you, man, because you are a good person, and you good people. How people say, "Oh, that guy is good people." You are the real deal.
Mahalo.
You are what you get. Who we see here is who you are.
Oh, I'm totally. That's what it was with him. I just want to let you know, babe. I'm like, what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. And she was okay with it.
Simple guy. She was okay with it.
Yeah.
10 years this week.
Terrific. Congrats. Yeah. And 2 beautiful babies.
Glorious.
Yep. Change your life, huh?
Oh, bro. Girl dad.
Yep.
Best thing ever.
Toughest job ever. Mommies too.
It is. You know what? We Amanda brought it up once when we were getting into an argument. It was the whole like yelling. I'm not yelling. You're yelling. She told me that the reason why she was so adamant about the way that I talked to our girls was that what I'm doing is I am setting an example of what an acceptable partner looks like. And that shook me to my core.
Wow.
Do I still slip up? Of course.
Of course.
You know,
You're the flesh.
I gave my youngest a guilt complex that night, and I shouldn't have done that. And this morning when she was brushing her teeth, we had a little talk in the bedroom. But for the most part, it's always at the forefront of my mind.
It's important. You know what? You're gonna fall down. You're gonna fail. Plenty.
How
times.
do you get up and keep?
And how do you
holo mua? That's the one.
Yeah. And then you know what? I've failed epically.
Yeah, me
as
too.
a parent. You know, my kids are now 32, 27, and 24 now, and I still fail. You never stop learning for that.
But I love your son this morning. That was like they got me right here. I felt that. That's cool, bro.
Yeah, and when you shared your story of Dad, those kind of moments mean a lot too. And I appreciate you opening your heart up. Appreciate your heart. Period, brother. Take care. God bless.
We whole?
I'm going to ask you to come back one day, but in a different capacity.
Whatever you need, bro.
Be careful what you ask for.
That's all right.
Okay, I know you. Automatic. Mahalo nui for joining us, folks. Join us next time, next week. Another episode of What Screw Went. Until then, ahui ho.
What Screw You Went is a PBS Hawaii production. Music by Taimane Gardner. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and tell your friends. You can find us on pbshawaii.org and everywhere you get your podcasts.